Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is, when will the Democrats shed the costly burden of the liberal left? With David and Gretchen taking a look at the mounting pile of evidence there really is Democratic voter fraud. Then, the unvarnished truth about socialized medicine as a state-sanctioned murder of an infant unfolds in Great Britain with the case of Charlie Gard. Continuing the theme of advancing liberal agenda through manufactured facts, a look at a study that shows they've been juking the numbers to make it appear there's global warming. And finally, a Pew study provides some surprising insight into the public perception of the National Rifle Association. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
When will the Democrats shed the costly burden of the liberal left? You'd think at some point they'd break the code that pretty much everything the Democratic Party says is at best a gross distortion of the truth and, more commonly, an outright lie. One need look no further than the laboratory results of liberalism. Major cities such as Detroit and Chicago have been run by Democrats for as long as anyone can remember, and they're disasters. In a discussion I was having with a self-identified liberal early this morning on Facebook, he was steadfastly towing liberal talking points. The subject was mainstream media and fake news. He claimed not only was the accusation untrue, but it was the machinations of conservative conspiracy to undermine the truth that the only fake news is produced by conservatives. It proved to be a perfect illustration how delusional the left has become. I noted that CNN producer John Bonifield, who was unaware that he was talking to a Project Veritas reporter secretly recording the conversation, said that the Trump-Russia connection is fake and was done to boost ratings. The ratings are incredible, he bragged. When I said it was the smoking gun, one of CNN's trusted producers admitting fraud, he replied Bonifield was a conservative planted at CNN years ago to eventually discredit CNN. Heads roll at CNN, but always in response to being caught in the act. CNN desperately, yet unsuccessfully trying to stay relevant, fired 3 reporters for concocting the Russia story. 3 more were fired over fake news about how ex-FBI Director James Comey was going to refute Trump on the issue of being told 3 times he was not under investigation. Let's face it, CNN's talent pool is as shallow and low intellect as you can get. CNN anchor Brooke Baldwin thought Congress has term limits. Chris Cuomo, referring to documents that were actually fake news, told his audience, quote, "It's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media. So everything you learned about this, you're learning from us," unquote. Cuomo's own assistant producer was secretly recorded by a Project Veritas reporter when he said everyone knows Cuomo's an intellectual lightweight, and the only reason he got the job is because his brother is New York's governor. Little better can be said for the goings-on at the New York Times, the Boston Globe, the Washington Post, and several other liberal major newspapers. Meanwhile, the left is whining about Trump's voter fraud commission. They take issue with Trump saying states are refusing to comply with the commission's request for information to determine voter fraud. The left touts 36 states either agreed or are considering participating with the commission. But the devil is in the details. The fact is, 20 states have agreed to send only information that is already publicly available, and 16 states say they are reviewing what they might be able to send. Hardly an affirmation that any of them are seriously concerned about uncovering voter fraud. But that notwithstanding, it means by their own admission, 14 states are telling the commission to go pound sand outright. What do they have to hide? Liberals alternately deny the existence of widespread voter fraud altogether or attribute it to conservative shenanigans conveniently ignoring the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation maintains a voter fraud database and recently added 89 new entries, including 75 convictions and numerous examples of elections that have been overturned and civil fines targeting vote fraudsters. Their database now contains documentation of 581 cases of proven voter fraud and 848 criminal convictions, and it's not limited to the usual suspects such as Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. While they still loom large, there are also states such as Nebraska and Oklahoma. In all, they have documented proof of electoral fraud in 47 states. And you don't have to be a genius to figure out which political party has the honor of being the perpetrator. The fact is, liberal operatives have no moral compass. Winning is all that matters, and the end always justifies the means. They're deceitful, scheming, dishonest, and really lousy liars. Hardly a day goes by that we don't unearth more hard evidence of the truly extreme lengths they have taken to try to mold society in their image and likeness. Whether it's the press that simply manufactures news, the entertainment industry with its second-rate stars being anointed as experts in climate change, social engineering, or anything else you can think of, liberal courts making rather than enforcing laws, or elected officials that blatantly promote self-interest rather than the common good. Each time they get caught, which is increasingly frequent, they cast a dark shadow over all Democrats. They are either so ideologically blinded or so stupid as to not understand that they are undermining their entire political party. At the rate they're burning up their credibility, it's only a matter of time before there is no Democratic Party. What is it they don't understand about losing the White House, the Congress, the Senate, the Supreme Court, many governorships, and state legislatures? Stupid is, as stupid does, leaving me to ask again, when will the Democrats shed the costly burden of the liberal left? And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's in my lifetime. I'm not holding my breath.
Well, the party may disappear.
But as you were saying earlier today, it just seems like every time they get caught, they just double down.
They do. That's the amazing thing. They have no shame. This producer, and see, they fire the lowest guy on the rung, right? The lowest rung on the ladder. Yeah, They're not going to fire him. Although, did he leave? He might have left. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't remember. Something just ding in the back of my head, but just literally admitted fraud. Of course, he didn't know he was being recorded, but just literally and bragged about it.
Right.
Oh, ratings are great. Well,
right.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, let's go. China was swallowed up by a dragon. That'll be good ratings.
Let's go make some more crap up.
It's and all of this bolsters nutbags like that guy that went targeting Republicans at the baseball game. I mean, this all just feeds into it. It just pours gas on the fire.
Yeah, and I won't say that somebody like that doesn't have mental issues, mental
Well, yeah, of
illness
course.
problems, but, it kind of makes you feel like they're getting to the point, they're like, well, I mean, and they have been for some time of, well, we can't win unless we cheat.
Well,
we
that may be-
can't,
it may be
we
true.
can't win unless we murder. We can't
Yeah.
win unless we lie and steal, and But yeah, I mean, this stuff's been going on for years. What I can't get over is how minimal some of these punishments are. Even when people are convicted of voter fraud. 2 men pleaded no contest to charges that they voted twice in the 2016 general election, and each was fined $100. That's a red light ticket in Plainfield, okay? Just to put that in perspective for you.
It is.
You're equating voter fraud with a red light ticket.
Well, and it's because so many of the judges are appointed. They're liberal. They're liberal
Yeah.
appointees, yeah. It really is. Here in Will County, not that we don't have Democrats to sit on the bench, but Will County is basically a pretty conservative county.
Well,
basically.
I think they said it's getting close. It's like 5-9 or something like that.
Of judges
Yeah.
in favor of Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nine Republicans
Yeah,
and 5.
yeah. Which
Democrats.
is fine. I mean, I'm not, and here's the thing. We always talk about Democrats, liberals, interchangeably. There are lots of Democrats who are, lots is a bad choice of words.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of Democrats, I would say, are good people. They believe a little differently than we do in how to run the country. They're not screaming liberal psychotics. But the screaming liberal psychotics control everything.
Really? You think most of them aren't?
Oh, come on. We know Democrats who are good people. I'm not going to mention names because...
Do we?
Yes, we do. We do know Democrats that are good people.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't have any friends who are my college roommate is a Democrat, and we just choose not to talk about it.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's it.
But she's almost as far left as you can get.
Oh, well, no, I'm talking
she
about...
was like Bernie Sanders, woohoo!
I'm talking about people who aren't that far left. People who, for instance, lose at words with friends.
Well, no, I know, but there's some conjecture about whether he's even a real Democrat at all.
Which is what I call a good Democrat. Oh, we're going to break now. Before mentioning anyone's name, we're going to break.
I wasn't going to say it.
What can I tell you?
I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, listen, we're going to be back, and give us a call, 815-205-1584. If you know a Democrat that's a nice person, there's got to be one or two.
No, not a nice person, a good person.
A good person. Anyway, we will be back with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use my editor, Creative Business Services, and go to print with confidence. That's my editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
You know, the article in the Daily Signal lists a number of just isolated incidents, very specific sort of things, like this Michael Singh of Stratford in Connecticut. He registered to vote, voted, was eventually elected to the town council. Turns out he wasn't a U.S. citizen. The Connecticut Elections Enforcement Commission discovered his non-citizen status and required him to pay $4,000 fine. Well, that's something. And they actually made him resign, yeah.
Well, thank God for that.
Sort of as an afterthought. Oh, yeah, by the way, got to quit.
Yeah, that's actually one of the stiffer penalties.
It is.
Most of these are trivial.
Like you were saying, here, the two guys in Nebraska had a $100 fine each.
Yeah.
Because they voted.
They each voted twice.
Yeah, they each voted twice in the 2016. And a former mayor.
This one's pretty funny.
You would think elected officials, right? The former mayor of the town of Eatonville, Anthony Grant, was convicted of a felony voter fraud charge, a felony election violation, and misdemeanor absentee voting violations. During his 2015 campaign, he coerced absentee voters to cast ballots for him and personally solicited at least one absentee ballot from someone who did not live in the town. They would have paid off, according to the article, except on Election Day he lost the in-person vote, but prevailed overall more than twice as many absentee ballots as the incumbent. Unfortunately, he got tripped up. He got 4 years probation and $400 of community service, probably working at election polls.
Registering voters.
Yeah.
In Alaska, this dude was an illegal alien. He overstayed his visitor's visa, and so he decided to just stay and become an American. So he assumed the identity of his deceased nephew, falsely claimed citizenship status, and filed a Social Security application. And he also registered to vote.
In all fairness to this guy, the nephew was dead. He wasn't using his, I'm just saying.
He wasn't using his social.
Right, it was available, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's generally how that happens. Yeah. They find dead people and
what's in the number?
Steal their socials.
What's in a number? It's just a number. Yeah. So, and the article, I think, sums this up well. Reasonable reforms, voter identification, both at the polls and when voting absentee, entering into interstate programs to cross-check voter rolls for duplicate registration, purging voter rolls of deceased voters, that all by itself in the city of Chicago will turn an election
in Cook
around.
County, that would change. That would change everything.
And non-citizens will help to protect the integrity of the process. I look at this thing and
I don't think that our listeners would do this, so I don't think I'm like telling anybody how to break the law, but they're saying entering into interstate programs so that they can make sure people aren't registered in more than one state. In Illinois, there is no statewide system to check. So and now that we have same-day registration and voting on Election Day, I can register in Grundy County. I can vote there. I can drive over to Will County and vote there. I can drive up to DuPage County, vote there. As much time as I have is as many times as I can vote.
If you register, though, don't you have to show a bill with an address on it or something?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Yeah, that's hard to duplicate in the days of computers.
Yeah, exactly.
I just, I read this stuff and I just hark back to who was the guy in. Was it North Carolina? I can't remember now. Doggone it. This getting old stuff ain't what it used to be, Fritz. I'm just telling you. It just ain't
Why? What did it used to be?
It didn't used to be this, I'll tell you that right now.
It's not what you thought it was going to be.
That's right. It'll come to me. When it does, I'll just pop it out as a pearl of wisdom.
Oh, were you talking about Virginia?
Was it Virginia?
Yeah, this one's really good. Okay, so in Virginia, there was a group trying to investigate voter fraud, non-citizens voting, and there was extensive efforts by state election officials to stonewall the group's investigation into non-citizen voting. And Virginia, as they point out, is a swing state. So the results of what happens in Virginia could actually, swing a presidential election, a congressional, there's huge ramifications for things like that. And I think that Virginia is also where they wanted the felons to vote.
Oh, yeah.
So Virginia is just messed up from
It's a
beginning to end.
bellwether state for illegal activity.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, Virginia's got a hard-on for criminals. It's not a curse word.
You remember, George? Yeah. I don't even remember what I said anymore. I said, you can say it on the radio. And he said, not here, you can't. No, not on
It was
Salem.
before I was on with you.
Not
so
on a Salem station.
So I
You
can't
say
even
that,
tell.
yeah.
I can't even tell you.
If you got something really pithy and relevant, give us a call, 815-205-1584, 815-205-1584. If you want to weigh in on the election thing, it's still bugging me. There was something I was going to say about somebody out on the East Coast that had done something, and it's escaped me, but it'll come to me.
Not Virginia.
Probably in the middle of the night. I'll just turn everything back on and shout it out.
There you
know what
go.
I'm saying? But which brings us to this topic is a very uncomfortable topic, to be honest with you.
I mean, there are so many issues in this. I mean, there's at least 3 that I can name off the top of my head.
And you will do that?
Well, once we give
Okay.
the information.
I don't know if you all have been following this. It's really not gotten a lot of play in this country. It's gotten some, but very, very little.
Very little.
Because it takes place in Great Britain. But it literally is exactly what Americans were saying about Obamacare and death panels. This is literally it, socialized medicine. The kid's name is Charlie Gard.
It's a baby.
It's a baby, yeah. He's 4 months old or something like that.
10 months old.
You do it.
Okay, so
I got a few numbers wrong. You know what
so
I'm saying?
Charlie Gard is a baby who has a rare genetic condition that it's basically he's on life support. He can't eat. He can't move on his own. He can't lift his head, etc. So because they have socialized medicine in the UK, the doctors have basically said there's nothing we can do for your child and you have to let him die.
They're in control.
They just made a decision, and so the parents challenged that. It went to the European Court of Human Rights. Well, it's been in the courts for probably all this time, probably from 4 months to now 10, so 6 months probably it's been in the courts. And some, lower courts, and it's gone up and up and up, and they're all saying no, the government, this hospital, they have the right to make this decision that we're not going to try any further treatments and we're not going to keep your child alive.
And there's a potential option here.
Yeah, so, and it's not even a money thing. So some hospital in the United States said, hey, we have a treatment, we'd like to try it. Basically use their child as a guinea pig, essentially, but they're willing to travel to the United States to try this treatment, and the doctors will not, and the court system will not let these parents bring their child to the United States for this treatment, and they wouldn't even have to pay for it. Some donors have agreed to pay for this treatment for this child. So it's just egregious, and now they're deciding when he's going to be taken off life support, and they won't even let them take them home so that he can die at home.
This is exactly what we were talking about, and so many people were talking about on Obamacare. You remember Hillary Clinton was always talking about they were going to appoint, were they the social workers? I don't know what it is. They were going to appoint social workers, I think it was, wasn't it? This is really. Who, and the wording that they used would let you be part of raising their child, your child.
Oh, right.
That?
It was like a schooling thing. It was going to be through the schools, but it's essentially DCFS is in the schools, and they're going to come into your home, and they're going to investigate the situation in your home to see if the situation is conducive to this child growing up and learning what they need to learn, and do they have nutritious food, and do they have a place to do their homework, and do they have a proper place to sleep, and all this crap. And this was going to be through the schools instead of through GCFS, so it would seem like more kosher, like you're not being penalized, but it they're very intrusive.
This is literally what they were talking about doing. This is what Hillary Clinton wanted.
Well, there's that, and then there's also, I mentioned to these guys that, when John McCain and Sarah Palin were running in the presidential campaign, Sarah Palin, said, if we get socialized medicine, if we get Obamacare, there's going to be death panels. And everybody made fun of her.
Exactly.
Everybody mocked her, said she was completely out of her mind. Where are you getting that? Well, first of all, it says it in the bill. If you actually read that part of the bill, it does say it. And it's absolutely, this is what we're talking about, is they're deciding for you. No, you don't get to live.
Parents have a right to raise their child. Now, I remember it was a few years ago. Somebody wanted to not treat their kid. Were they? What's the religion?
Was.
Is it Quaker? Who is it that does?
No, it was something kind of different. I don't know if it was Jehovah's Witness or something.
But it was something like that. Yeah. And they wanted to withhold. Well, the big thing
they
that
don't
they
believe
do
in medicine.
is inoculations. That started.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But they don't believe in medicine. Basically.
I don't know where you draw the line. I mean, where is the line drawn for child abuse and parental rights?
Yeah.
But if you have a child that is dying and you want to try a treatment to save the kid, I think that's black and white.
Or even prolong their life, or even allow an experimental treatment to be tried so that they can see, what does it do? Does this have any benefit at all? So they're holding back science. They're taking away parental rights, which, this goes into, like you're saying, religious beliefs, philosophical. I mean, every different way that you can look at child rearing is addressed within this. They're saying they wanted to take their son home, give him a bath, cuddle with him on the couch, and let him rest in a crib that he has never slept in, and they won't even let him do that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this is just messed up like 10 ways from Sunday. I can't even begin. I mean, it's just beyond.
And still we have yet to abolish Obamacare. Now, I don't know what part haven't they taken a few parts out of it? They've sort of chopped things up. Right?
It has been sliced and diced over the years that it's been in effect.
I don't really know.
Because some things were kind of ruled unconstitutional and, different things. The other thing is that the Vatican is basically not willing to intervene.
Right.
Well,
this Pope is...
yeah, way out there.
This Pope is way, way out there, yeah. I mean, we've had popes who've been strange. I mean, Spanish Inquisition and all, but this guy is I think he's shocking a lot of Catholics, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Catholics that are becoming very...
I agree. I think there's some that are, really happy of, oh, yay, now I can be gay, or now I can, abort my baby, or now I can do whatever I want, and... but yeah, I think the more traditional Catholics are like, what?
And I think this is because all churches are losing congregants. And I think what they're trying to do, I think it's a matter of money, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well,
I really do. I think they're trying to broaden the net to keep more people in the church by being inclusive.
It's not overly cynical to say that, and I wouldn't doubt it a bit.
All right, well, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about climate change. Oh, how fun that's going to be.
Climate change.
And we'll be back after these few messages with more
on Target Radio.
Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech, on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week, with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
We're back, and I'm back. I was going blind there. I don't know what.
Yeah, you said there's something. It was like burning.
Yeah, I was like had acid in my eye. But I want you to note that despite being in agony and going blind,
That's right.
I was dedicated.
The show must go on.
I stuck to it. Right, I'm here. I was
show
there.
must go on.
I went crying into the kitchen.
Quite. You should win a Tony just for that.
Isn't there an Antoinette rather than a Tony? I would rather have the, Never mind. Okay, so he got it. See, somebody got it. What can I say?
It's an award. That's what they call it.
Speaking of liberals lying, that's a good segue. Eh?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Which we were in segment 1.
Exactly. I don't think anybody sitting at this table, and probably most, if not all, the people who listen to our show, ever really believed that this whole climate change thing had any weight to it at all.
Any validity? No, not really.
Nope.
What was that?
I talked.
Was that sound effect?
He said no.
I said nope.
I've never heard that. Something was wrong with my headphones.
It happens once.
There's an echo in here.
Exactly. We're priming him. We want him to. He does so many creative things. It'd be nice if he talked.
He's a very talented individual.
Yes, indeed. He's sort of like the silent partner.
There's 100 people out there who don't know how multi-talented you are.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is true.
Just FYI, he set up all this crap.
That's sort of like a backhanded comment. It's, he set up all this crap. Yeah.
No, I don't know any other way to quantify. Okay, technology. He set up all this technology.
We call it crap in the technology field.
That's what I thought. That's the technical term.
But here's
for a pile of stuff, it's crap.
Here's the thing. Have you ever noticed that he never says this is going to work?
That's not.
He always says this should. Am I right?
Right.
That is correct.
This should work.
That's industry standard, is my understanding.
We're sitting here, and there's a tone going through our headset, going, and blood's coming out of our eyes and nose.
We say why.
I think this should work.
He goes, this should work.
It's what am I going to say? Speaking of it should work, climate change. I hate to bring it back to the, I think I told you, and I've really been trying to remember this guy's name. When I was in college, this is going to be about probably the first 2 years or so early 70s.
Okay.
A book was written about...
I'm researching while you're talking. Go.
A book was written about we're going to go into an ice age, and it's our fault because of everything that we're doing wrong in the world. And the author of that book is the same guy that started this. The world's going to heat up. Of course, we never had an ice age, but like 30 years later, he's the author of the book that said, the world is heating up, and it's because of what we're doing. It's just this agenda. They perpetrate these myths, and first of all, you can't look and we joke about this sometimes, but we're not so dumb to believe it. It's like 110. You go, it's like global warming stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a joke.
Yeah, it's just a joke. It's not. Predicting weather. Weather is prediction. It's what you expect. But climate is what you expect, right? It's going to be this, going to be that. But weather is what you get. And it varies. I mean, it goes to the vagaries of reality. Now, could it be heating up? It could be heating up a little bit, but we're talking about tenths tenths of a degree over 100 years. But we know that historically the planet has heated and cooled.
Yeah,
and heated
it's
and
all
cooled.
cyclical.
Exactly. So here you go. The liberals, of course, we're all going to die. We'll burn to crisp. The New York and Los Angeles are going to be underwater. The polar ice caps are melting. My favorite is the polar ice caps are melting, because what they do, and this has historically been the case with polar ice caps, they look at a part where the ice cap is receding. They fail. They neglect to mention that over on the other side, it's increasing.
It's growing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they sort of overlook that inconvenient truth. So now here you got a group of scientists.
Was the guy's name J. Murray Mitchell?
It was 3 names, as I recollect. What book did he write?
Let's see. It says he showed as early as 1963 a multi-decadal cooling since about 1940. He presented at a climate change conference in Boulder, Colorado.
Do they list him with temperature going up?
Let's see. I don't know.
While you're doing that, I'll amuse the multitude of listeners we don't have. So now a group of scientists have they've done a study on the validity of National Ocean Atmospherics and NASA and Hadley and all of that kind of stuff, and what they find is they're juking the numbers. These people have bought into this for whatever reason, probably because it makes them money somehow. We know it makes Al Gore money.
Right. I think it's just like gun control, though. It's not about guns, it's about control.
Well, and there is actually, I know we always joke about there's that, but there actually is that, too, because it's yet another way that they have...
They can control our lives.
The whole concept is that you turn to government for everything. Yeah. That's the whole concept.
Right.
So, if they tell you you don't know what you're doing, you don't understand it, it's bad because you're ruining the environment, you have to do this. Every time there's any question about anything, you turn to the government for the answer. Mm-hmm. That's what it's about.
Right.
And sometimes it may not be draconian, it's just not true.
It's that whole, pat them on the head.
Exactly.
We'll take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make it okay.
Meanwhile, people like Al Gore, that whole carbon trading scheme that the airlines have bought into. Basically, Al Gore is a principal in a company, and what they do is they sell carbon offsets. Mm-hmm. So if you're a giant carbon producer, like the airlines are, they spew out gazillion tons of carbon out the back end of those things. What you do is you give money to Al Gore's company, and they in turn take that money and offset your carbon footprint, that's what they call it, carbon footprint, by doing something somewhere to equal it, to equate it,
make the world better.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
they're like planting trees.
I was going to say, I'm not joking when I say to you, they'll plant a tree somewhere.
This is not hyperbole, right?
Exactly. That's literally what they do. And literally, that is what they do. They will plant a tree somewhere. Okay? So an airline will give them several $100,000, in carbon offset guilt. Mm-hmm. And they'll go, let's plant a spruce over here, and then the rest is overhead.
And I wonder, too, they're probably making money like double because they have to plant a tree somewhere. So then they go find someplace like Plainfield that just took out like 1 million ash trees. And they're like, let us sell you a tree.
Yeah, they probably are. They probably are.
When they should just be giving us the tree.
So, they said the magnitude of the historical data adjustments, what they did is they removed the cyclical temperature patterns, and he said it's just the numbers that they have are totally inconsistent with the reality of the situation.
Right.
And the average person has no way of knowing that.
Right, exactly. It says, because of anomalies in recording surface temperature, scientists usually apply adjustments to remove biases from data sets, but what they've been doing is they minimize warming in earlier data and maximize it in later data, so that it looks more pronounced than it really is.
It's by skewing. You can take the exact same set of numbers, but you weight it differently.
Right,
and
or
that's what they
basically they're rounding. So
exactly.
For the 1940s data, they're rounding down, and then every successive decade, they're rounding it up more and more.
Which is like the guy in Office. What is it? The Office.
Office Space.
Office Space. Who says, he discovers that
there's an accounting mistake.
That there's a half a cent accounting, and when they're billing clients,
right.
they just drop it. Ignore the half a cent, and he goes, I wrote a program where we'll take that half a cent and we'll deposit it in
a bank account.
And they will, what could go wrong with that? No one will ever know. They don't care. And 3 days later, they check and millions of dollars in this account.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what this is. I mean,
basically,
they can say, and I don't know, I haven't checked this, but they could, for instance, say, these are the exact numbers. We've looked at them. And they could be. But the way they put it into the formula and the weight that they give to it is what tells a different, it can tell a different story. And that's what they do.
Right. I mean, if they were consistent, if they always rounded down or if they always rounded up, then okay,
You're playing by the same set of
rules. It would at
rules.
least be consistent.
Yeah.
But it's not.
So, again, it's just this disingenuousness. And the problem is, I think the real problem with this is that all the subjects are the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? They're all the end of the world.
No, see, I see it differently. I think all these things, they just keep coming up with new ways to try to make us look stupid.
Yeah.
They just keep they just keep piling on and piling on of and the stupid conservatives believe this and the stupid conservatives believe this, and they just keep and people are buying it.
Yeah.
The electorate, it seems like the electorate is buying it.
Well, and why? Because the news touts it.
Right, exactly. Because the liberal media, bolsters it up. They report on it.
And you get rock and roll stars who become experts, and movie stars who are experts in global warming and social engineering and all this kind of stuff. Who the hell is Sean Penn? Sean Penn, I don't think he finished high school. Barbara Streisand did not finish high school. And she's a self-appointed expert on anything she talks about.
Oh, yeah.
These
absolutely.
people are the only person...
And you said she's basically inarticulate.
Oh, yeah, she actually is.
She can't even speak without a script.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that? I think I've
No, you told me
that
about
before.
it, but I've never seen it.
Harvard. It was Harvard, where the president of Harvard says to her at the end of a speech, which she read, he said, I know we agreed that you weren't going to answer any questions, but we have some extra time. And you could see the woman blanch. I mean, she turned pale because there's no way she can answer questions. She's dumb as a box of rocks. Was it Ann Coulter wrote Shut Up and Sing?
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back, and when we return, interesting thing about a Pew survey about what people think of the NRA. So we'll wrap it up with that. And we'll be back after these few messages with more
on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, July 15th and 16th, NRA Pistol Instructor, taught by David. If you would like to teach Illinois Concealed Carry, this is the class you need to take. Saturday, July 22nd, NRA Range Safety Officer, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, July 29th and 30th, NRA Rifle Instructor, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, August 5th and 6th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. When seconds count, the police are only minutes away. That's why you should get Illinois Concealed Carry. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Sunday, August 6th, Long Range Rifle, taught by Ed Janka. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
Interesting. We have a caller. It is Jeff.
Hello.
Jeff, are you on? How are you doing this evening?
Gretchen, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes,
Good.
we can.
Go ahead.
Your subject about global warming earlier,
Yep.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but a few days ago, there's been a monumental seismic shift on exposing these climate change fraudsters. There's been a lawsuit ongoing in British Columbia initiated by this Dr. Michael Mann from Penn State. He's the instigator or the, quote, creator, unquote, of this hockey stick.
Oh, yeah, right.
Theory.
The graph that they only show part of.
Right. And then, so this Dr. Timothy Ball, he's a Canadian, wrote a paper or something saying this guy should be in the state pen, not at Penn State. So Mann initiated one of these slap lawsuits to shut him up and try and bankrupt him, and it's been going on for 6 years. Well, there's been a monumental decision. The court in British Columbia ordered Mann to give the court all of his scientific data so the court could review it to see if it was true. Mann refused, saying it's proprietary knowledge. Well, unfortunately for him,
that doesn't hold up in court.
He is funded by public funds and taxpayer money. He is bound under Freedom of Information to do that. So the court found him in civil contempt, and he can be actually charged with a criminal intent to commit fraud in the U.S.
Excellent.
So this is going to be over the next month, whenever this happens, over the next couple of months, this is going to be a mortal wound to all these climate change freaks because it will be a legal vindication that this has been a fraud from the get-go, and this Michael Mann kind of overreached, and now the chickens are coming home to roost.
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Right.
That's
That's beautiful.
The truth eventually outs. You know, he and CNN should get together and decide how they're going to spend the rest of their years in ignominy. They're all liars.
He'll probably get a job at CNN as a weather forecaster.
There you go. Wouldn't that be poetic? Well, that was all I wanted. Oh, by the way, there is another suppressor bill been introduced by both the House and the Senate, but I don't want to go into it now.
Give it another whack. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye. That's nice. You know, and the other thing is you can't, if a court orders documents from you, you can't say it's proprietary information. That has no holding in court.
Yeah.
It's a court thing. It's not, it's a legal thing. It's not a competitive thing. Wouldn't it be interesting if it all really unraveled?
The problem, as we were just saying, the problem is you have to get the mainstream media to report on it. Otherwise, the word doesn't get out. And,
we'll report on it.
Whether or not, ABC, NBC, CBS, et cetera, are going to report on it is, remains to be seen.
We're not actually mainstream. We're sort of like a little tributary, little pond. But anyway, this is an interesting thing, the Pew thing, and overall, this is kind of a negative thing. But it's interesting. Yes. It's interesting what they found when they do survey of U.S. adults. They asked whether or not you remember the NRA. And 14 million people said they are, which is astounding since there's only 5 million NRA members.
According to the NRA.
According to the NRA, yes. And this is actually the good part because I'm sure the NRA would like the money from, the missing 9 million. But it's a good part because there are a lot of people who actually aren't NRA who identify.
Right. It means that there's 9 million more people who are sympathetic.
Exactly. So
they haven't actually written the check, but they're sympathetic.
Yeah, that part's
that's a good thing.
Yeah, but the rest of it's kind of shady because they produce surveys that they purport to know what NRA members think.
Right. The first question is when you pick up the phone, are you a member of the NRA? If you say yes, they continue, assuming that you really are. But
the reality is
about a third of these people are not.
And
or 2/3 of these people are not.
I hear this all the time when people register for classes because that's the question we ask.
Right.
And I hear it all the time. Oh, yeah. I go, what's your number? I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I'm sure I did that at some point.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe it was a few years ago.
They don't realize that you have to do it every year.
Yeah. Oh, no, they realize because the NRA, if there's one thing the NRA is not falling down on the job, it is communication.
That's true.
They will
send a lot of direct mail.
Yeah, a lot, including it's time to renew. I've been a life member for many years, so I don't get that. It's one letter I don't get out of the vast sea of stuff that I do.
The problem with I shouldn't say problem, but the sneaky thing that they do is they say it's time to renew, but they don't tell you what your actual renewal date is, or like what the actual expiration date is.
It's always time to renew.
Right, exactly.
I'm not trying to
they tell me that like 3-4 times a year.
I'm not trying to get down on the NRA. I always promote it. I tell people
they're very good at what they do.
Yeah, but like all major size organizations, membership organizations, you're always hawking. Right. You got to get money. It's just that simple.
It's just what it is.
But this Pew thing, so the NRA is the one that wrote this piece, and the point they're trying to make is, when Pew comes out and they say we've done this study and this is with NRA members, and good example is, and I don't remember for sure that it was Pew, but a study was done and it shows that a majority of NRA members believe that we should have stricter gun control.
Have universal background checks.
Yeah, exactly.
We should have,
they don't know that they're NRA members.
Right.
They don't really know that. And I would be surprised if any study of actual NRA members showed a majority of people supporting any gun control. I'm sure there's some. I don't doubt that there's some people who are members of the NRA. But, how many people do we know in the NRA? Many. And I've never heard anyone go, I think we need more gun control,
Right. So the quote from the article says, Pew did not actually survey NRA members. Pew does not know what percentage of NRA members support one law or another, how many guns they own, or anything else for that matter.
Exactly. And it points out Mike Bloomberg, Everytown, The Trace, Mayors Against Illegal Guns, Americans of Responsible Solutions, Slate, the Center for American Progress, and MoveOn.org. How many of these organizations are there?
Oh, there's tons, just like there's tons of us.
They've all claimed to know where NRA members stand on gun control based on population samples that were diluted with non-members. When you start reading the list of these people, it's like, holy crap.
Right. Well, and as you said, this was written by the NRA, Institute for Legislative Action, and they say, we don't share our list of members with anyone.
Exactly.
So when they say that they've polled NRA members, they're just making that up because no one else knows who they are besides us.
Yeah, and I think they're being disingenuous, certainly.
Yes.
But they are basing it on the assumption that if they ask if you're an NRA member and you say yes, that you're an NRA member.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we see, like I said earlier, we see it all the time. People go for the instructor classes. When I teach, like I'm going to be teaching pistol instructor, and I'll say I need your NRA number, and they go, yeah, or they'll give me the number, and then when we run it, they haven't been a member for like 2 years.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is what it is. But I just found it interesting that that there are 5 million NRA members and 14 million people said, yeah, I'm an NRA member.
Well, I think at least one person that we have as a mutual friend was under the impression that another person that we have as a mutual friend, bought her an NRA membership, and she seemed to be under the impression that that was like for life, that you just join once and then you're good.
Could you just be a little more vague on that, because
I probably could.
I missed an important, critical thing like what you're talking about. But is this?
I was saying that some people are under the impression they join once and then that's it. They don't have to do it every year.
The part I'm not catching is who we're actually talking about. But you don't want to say it.
Right. I don't want to embarrass her.
Yeah.
But it's a mutual friend her membership fee was paid for 1 year by another mutual friend of ours.
Okay. So is this a relative?
No.
Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, yeah. So if there's any lesson to be learned at all today, it's they all lie. We used to say this in the sheriff's department. They all lie.
They all lie.
Some of them may not know some of them may not be lying because they may not honestly know. They get talking points. It's what they want to be true, okay, because it's their vision too, and they accept them. And you have people like that on the right too. I wouldn't exclude people on the right either. But journalists don't do that. Well, let me take that statement back.
You need to qualify.
Yeah, reputable journalists don't do that. They dig around, and really reputable ones look below the fold. Yeah. What was that? The Boston
Times.
Yeah.
I came across one the other day that was like the Washington Press, and I'm like,
sounds right. Sounds good.
I was looking for a link to put on Facebook to argue with somebody, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go to the next one. Just in case. Because it looked kind of chintzy.
I still, tell that story about myself.
It's a great story.
Yeah, it is. I got suckered in. If I'd have just gone below the fold and I was seeing movies where the stars really did it, I would have probably had a better inclination as to the problem of the veracity of the material.
And I never get tired of saying, the 1 week I did not have time to edit the newsletter. That's what happened.
That was the one.
The 1 week I didn't edit it.
Anyway, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to whatever this turns out to be each week, and we'd appreciate it if you tell your friends about it. Don't tell them everything about On Target Radio.
Just tell them you like it.
Yeah, tell them you like it.
We'd also like to thank our engineer and third voice, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, My Editor Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
Now that I'm the Will County chapter of the ISRA's whatever, number 2 guy.
Whipping boy.
And I'm going to provide speakers. I see things in the future for speakers like polls and other things that, strippers. I don't know what we're going to do, something. But anyway, we'll be back next week. And finally, we hope that you'll listen to us because we'll be covering more red meat issues that affect your life.